It's day 2 of the Intra-African Trade Fair in Durban. We cross back to our SABC News Economics reporter, Liabo Setho, who is there. Liabo, over to you.
Thanks, Nastasia. As I said earlier on in the previous hour, that we are focusing on transport as well as the automotive sector, and we know that with this intra-Africa trade, the automotive sector plays a very huge role, as it is seen as one of the sectors that can bolster intra-Africa trade. And the Africa Continental Free Trade Area also identifies the automotive sector as a critical sector. We've decided to pay a visit to Nissan South Africa, just to find out about their plans to moving the hubs to other regions. Earlier this year, they did announce that the Roslyn plant will be, or they will be doing a hub there at the Roslyn plant. So we'll find out how far they are with that and what other plans they have. I am here and we'll be joined by Mr. Kabelo Rabutu. He's the managing director here at Nissan. Mr. Rabutu, thank you so much. Incredible plans that you have of moving the Roslyn plant. Tell us a little bit more about those.
Well, the Roslyn plant will always be our hub from a manufacturing perspective, because we've got a history of building light commercial vehicles and it will become the hub. What we're doing is expanding our production into the continent. One, as we know that there is opportunities in Africa to actually grow mobilization or mobility, especially for people. So we need to also grow production and create more jobs.
Where are you planning to go first when you move out of Southern Africa?
Well, we've already actually started. We're the first manufacturer to start manufacturing in Nigeria in 2014. And now we've started another manufacturing facility in Ghana, where we will be assembling the Navara, which we started producing in South Africa. And we have a facility also in Morocco. So we're engaging with a number of countries that actually they're willing and who have policies that are automotive policies that are putting in place, so that then they can grow automotive industrialization.
So it's been a fact that a lot of South African companies, when they start to go outside of Southern Africa and they go into regions, they do meet a lot of problems because the market is quite different there. Are you anticipating any of these challenges, and how would you be dealing with them?
I think Nissan has been producing in Africa for over 50 years now, one. But secondly, as you know, we've got an Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which is bringing all the markets within Africa to talk together in how we can open up markets, one, we're able to drive industrialization, at the same time also to allow for free movement of people. So I think the number of issues that previous companies have faced will become less so, because there is a common understanding that Africa needs to actually accelerate industrialization and also become, you think about it, we only a very small consumers of vehicles when we've got about 70% of the world population, and only 1.2% of cars are actually operating in Africa. So we need to grow mobility in the continent.
In the session earlier on with the Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition, Minister Ibrahim Payatel, he mentioned the influx of cheap imports that come into African countries. How do you feel about this as a big automotive company?
One, there are a number of issues with that. One, because those vehicles that come from other countries, developed markets, into South Africa or into Africa, into the continent, as grey used imports, are not built for the conditions in which they operate. Remember, you've got hot climate, you've got cold climates. You've got roads that are not necessarily built like in the first world countries. You've got fuel type differences. So what you're actually doing is giving people something that's not of good value to them. So we need to build cars and bring cars into market that would actually last and be suitable for purpose in our continent.
And hopefully be affordable to consumers, because we do know that South Africa is one of the most expensive new passenger vehicle countries that sell them quite expensively. And hopefully, as the market opens up, this will find that it will become cheaper for people to buy cars?
Most definitely, because you get economies of scale, and opening up markets allows for that scale, one. But secondly, whenever you build anything, more volume, it's good for bringing costs down. So that's quite important. And I think that's where policy also comes into play, because number of import duties that are in place, and the free trade agreement allows for that to actually happen, that we do not then import or export cars at very high duties applicable to those markets.
Mr. Kabelo Rabutu, thank you so much for joining us on point. Thank you so much. That Mr. Kabelo Rabutu, and he is the Managing Director at Nissan, telling us about their plans of having regional hubs across the African continent. This is, of course, one of the plans that have been touted by the Intercontinental or the Africa Continental Free Trade Area to make sure that to make sure that regional hubs are built. And I thought that with one big company, I should come and speak to one small company that is EE Quality Solutions to find out what they do here. Of course, remember earlier in the day, if you have been watching SABC News, I did emphasize the issue of youth startups and how these are important within the context of intra-Africa trade. And I'm here with Sinetemba. Sinetemba, please tell us about your business and what you do.
Okay, hi, I'm Sinetemba Sakuba. So we're an emerging SMME in the automotive manufacturing environment. So the company was formed this year in 2021. We started operations in October. Basically, we are an ESD beneficiary of Mercedes-Benz South Africa. We were fortunate to be awarded the contract to supply the batteries from Germany into South Africa and then to sequence them to the MBSA plant. We are based in the East London IDZ. That's basically us, and we're working closely with the big. We also have there an AIH member company. That's our contract logistics provider, and that's us.
So. Do you think people, particularly in this industry and startups for that matter, understand the value of enterprise supplier development programs? Because here you are netted a 7-year contract with Mercedes-Benz. Take us through the importance of this as a business person.
I think it's critically important. The amount of support we've received from Mercedes-Benz South Africa through the enterprise supply development program has been quite significant in helping us build a base to make sure that we have the right stability and the right base to really launch us into the market. And I think it's critically important for the other big OEMs to really push the EST program, as we have a lot of skills within the production facilities. It's just that the opportunities to really expand into business become quite few, and I think it's quite important that the OEMs in the manufacturing really support and promote this enterprise development.
Yeah, the manufacturing space in South Africa is in quite a dicey condition, in such that in 2008, 2009, with the problems, the economic problems that we saw there, the sector never really recovered. How are you seeing, the recovery in that automotive sector? Because you would be supplying them now. How are you seeing it?
I think for now we're still experiencing quite a few challenges in terms of the reduced volumes because of the challenges as you mentioned. But I think we're in the phase now where we're going to start seeing a recovery of the manufacturing industry. We already seen the kind of volumes that the OEMs want to push out, planned for next year. God behold that everything goes as planned and we don't have another big surge of COVID. But I think the manufacturing field is in on a recovery. It might be a slow one, but I think with the EV direction that we're heading in, I think it's really going to put us in a good standpoint to really get that manufacturing going again, to get it to the levels that we need to get it to.
Yeah. As an importer, how much were you affected by the pandemic, with the movement of your products, and you need to give them to your clients?
Fortunately for us, with Mercedes-Benz South Africa being our incubator, they have broken down basically us into two phases. So the first phase, we don't need to import the parts directly. We are actually operating at the Mercedes-Benz facility and checking the parts there. But as of next year, we will be fully importing those parts directly from Germany. So for now, we haven't experienced any challenges in terms of the importing leg. But next year, we hopefully will start getting into that environment and seeing what challenges are out there and how we can overcome those challenges.
I know there are a lot of young people who have the desire to be doing what you are doing. Give them some practical advice about how they should start and who they should approach.
I think for us in the automotive industry, because it's such a specialized market, I think the one thing is to really build the experience within the industry that you're in, get as much knowledge as you can, because it's not as easy running a business and being an employee. I think I've learned it now. It's quite an exciting and challenging experience, but I think what's important is to make sure that you've got the foundation of the understanding of the environment, of the automotive environment, and to have the necessary skills that you need in order to succeed in that environment. environment. I think what we've shown also from MBSA is that guys that are coming with that experience working in that kind of environment tend to be a little bit more successful when they become SMMEs in the business forum. Yeah.
Are you satisfied with policy direction of how government is assisting startups like yours? Are you satisfied with that?
Look, from my side, we haven't really received any direct government support. We've actually been really pushing the contract from our side as a new company. I think all the support systems are there, but I just feel the execution from the different support agencies are not as crisp and as precise as they should be. I think all the programs, the policies are there. It's just that the execution is not there and it's not penetrating where it should be penetrating. I think the government, what they really need to do is really tap into the OEMs and get involved with the OEMs, because the skills are lying in the OEMs with the employees that are there, and I think that's where the real penetration and the real value that they will receive from.
Speaking of penetration, any plans of expanding into the rest of Africa using this platform of the Intra-African Trade Fair, and what are your thoughts generally on the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement?
I think for me it's long overdue. It's really a strategic point now in the manufacturing field to really penetrate Africa. For us, from the 2 days we've been here, we've made quite some good networking with some of the guys. I think one of the key areas there for us to really penetrate Africa is really on the high voltage field. With the cars moving towards EV, having a local manufactured EV battery in South Africa or even in Africa would be best. I think in order for us to really have a viable market, we need to have more localization. I think for us, not focusing only on MBSA, we're looking at other OEMs, and I think there's an opportunity, and this is the perfect platform for that.
It certainly is. Netemba, thank you so much for joining us on Point. Nastasia, that's Netemba. I thought let's hear from a big company, and also let's hear from a smaller company about what their thoughts are with regards to the automotive sector. And as you can hear from Netemba, great plans, and that it is actually possible for you to go to those enterprise supplier development programs and net a program. He's netted a program or contract of around 7 years supplying parts and batteries to Mercedes-Benz, and this is something that certainly can be done by other young people who are looking to get into the automotive sector. Let me leave it here, Anastasia, and I'm sure that there's more news that on your side.
Thank you so much, Liabo Setho.